Now, we've got a lot of great stories to get to, but to start off the broadcast, we want to tell you about some new information we've just learned regarding the Holly Bobo case that has recently been released.
We returned indictments against 39-year-old Jason Wayne Autry.
On Tuesday, the TBI announced charges against Jason Wayne Autry. Autry is charged with especially aggravated kidnapping and first-degree murder. He was arraigned today in the Decatur County District Court. TBI officials say more arrests are expected.
We believe that there are individuals out there that have information, possible involvement, and I think this sends a clear message to them that they should be expecting a knock at their door pretty soon.
Now, this case is one that still continues to define a small Tennessee town. It broke their hearts, tested their community. It was an abduction of their sister, their daughter, friend, and even in some cases, a stranger named Holly Bobo.
Holly went missing April 13th.
It was a case that made national headlines.
Police in Tennessee say they are expanding their search for missing nursing student Holly Bobo.
TBI continues to investigate areas in Decatur County.
Holly Bobo was last spotted Wednesday morning.
Holly's face displayed across the country as people watched to hear the story of a young nursing student taken from her own backyard.
I was out there shortly, within 2 hours of everything, because we were in class when we learned. We weren't but about 10 minutes into class when we were getting the notice that EMS had been notified.
The last person to see her own brother, as she walked into the woods with a man he thought to be her boyfriend.
If he thought his sister was in danger, I'm pretty sure he would have done everything he could have. You know, he thought it was the boyfriend, you know, and a lot of people have criticized him over that.
Police started their investigation with few leads.
When she was first abducted, you know, there were thousands of people showing up to search, and everybody pulled together and kind of worked as one, you know, with a common goal.
And 1 year passed, and then 2, still with no answers. The case might have gone cold, but the community didn't.
Well, it doesn't let a case fall by the wayside, I guess. It keeps it active, keeps it on people's minds. You know, we don't want the justice system to lose sight.
Whether they knew Holly.
Holly was one of my best friends in high school and college.
Or not.
As far as I actually know, the Bobos, I don't, but they need the help, they need the support, so that's what we do. We all pull together, we support. We're all close-knit, we all have a heart.
They all joined together for one common goal.
We're still praying that they'll find her and bring her back home if she is still out there.
Everyone doing their part to find Holly.
Searching, trying to get information. Karen's been out with multiple friends and family trying to get flyers put out to try and bring Holly home.
I've been searching for Holly for 3 years.
There's always been pink boats here because we all had that hope for Holly to come home. Good afternoon.
And then finally, 3 years later, the day they all prayed for.
Decatur County Grand Jury handed down indictment of especially aggravated kidnapping and first-degree felony murder on Zachary Rye Adams.
But weren't ready to hear.
Right now, it's just heartbreak. It's just not the way we hoped it would turn out. It's just not.
Another devastation, another sock in the stomach, another letdown.
It's a truly sad day in Decatur County because this didn't just affect one family, it affects 2.
Well, of course, there's disappointment, you know, because everybody wanted Holly to come back safe and sound, and, you know, we realize now that that's not going to happen.
And they do have some very difficult days ahead of it, but we just wanted to know that we're right there with them.
And then, instead of accepting defeat, the mission of the community changed.
They're making, this is a time of readjustment for them.
From bring Holly home.
We're going to get justice.
Justice.
Justice. Justice.
I just pray that justice is served.
To justice for Holly. Coming up a little bit later in the broadcast, the story of Holly Bobo is far from over. With charges finally filed in her case, we'll show you how the community is continuing to fight for Holly.
Earlier, we told you of the story of the young blonde nursing student named Holly Bobo, who tragically disappeared 3 years ago.
But many don't know the story of the community that cried for her, searched for her, and her disappearance even more her life, changed that town forever.
You just survive when something this tragic happens.
Parsons, Tennessee is a stereotypical small West Tennessee town.
Well, it's just a small town. Everybody knows everybody.
We may not be blood related, but we're all family.
It's a small place and a good place to live.
And Bobo is a name everyone knows in one way or another.
I grew up in the same neighborhood as her dad.
Holly was one of my best friends.
I was Holly's teacher at the time of her abduction.
And I'm personal friends of the Bobo family. And
Holly's life touched their hearts.
And most of the time what we were doing was just being silly and just joking around.
Beautiful young lady, had a bright future ahead of her.
And her disappearance broke them.
Can you imagine not knowing where your child is when you get up?
It's broken everybody's heart.
You know, even though it's been 3 years, we're all still kind of floored by what we've learned and, you know, what we've found out. You know, it's tough, and we'll never completely get over it, no.
When Holly Bobo first disappeared, the message of the community was help us bring Holly home. Now that murder charges have been filed in this case, the new message is justice for Holly. With local resident Zach Adams charged and the searches called off, instead of quitting, the community is fighting harder than ever.
Heavenly Father, once again we come to you with very humble hearts and very broken hearts. For 3 years, Holly hasn't had a voice. Somebody took that away from her. It's up to each and every one of us to be Holly's voice.
They don't want her to be a story. They want her to be remembered as who she was.
Since the indictments were announced in March, multiple Justice for Holly rallies have been held.
Well, this one is more in support of the family, to encourage them, to let them know that their friends have not forgotten them and that we're going to be with them and beside them in the days ahead.
They have people here for them. If they have, you know, they want to cry, there's a shoulder to lean on. They need somebody to pray. There's people to pray for them.
And I think this helps keep everyone involved reminded of how important it is to.
After a prayer service at Holly's home church, a procession of motorcycles and cars traveled across Decatur County, each adorned with pink and green bows to show that though the searches have ceased,
the community is backing the Bobos 100%.
We can come together for a cause, and we've shown that with this case.
Their support,
people showing up and offering their support and presence,
never wavered.
We're here to support her. If it takes now, from 20 years from now, we're going to get justice for Holly.
But there are some in the community that also remember Zach.
Everybody knew the Adams family. Everybody knows the Bobo family. You know, just, it's a bad deal.
And are fighting to defend him.
What'd they find this time? Come on, folks. Get real. They trying to blame Zach because he's an outlaw. He's an old country boy, and he been in dope so long that now, by God, they trying to hang him.
There's also those that think their legal system failed them.
If the justice system would have put him in penitentiary for his drug charges, maybe Holly would be alive today.
I don't even understand how he could be out of the system to have this happen.
On April 9th, the murder case was scheduled to begin, but a variety of issues stalled it.
The wheels of justice move slowly.
Decatur County Circuit Court Judge Creed McGinley allowed Adams to waive his right to appear in court.
If I were to draw one word for today's status conference, it would be uncertain.
And due to the fact he had not retained an attorney, his status hearing could not take place.
We really cannot go forward without him being afforded his constitutional right to counsel.
You know, it seems like that everybody was unprepared, and you know, he hasn't retained an attorney, and you know, it was kind of a letdown, really.
Of course, the family's somewhat disappointed. They wanted everything to proceed. We want it to be fair, but at the same time, we want it to be as quickly as possible.
It seemed like to me that the defense knew what they were doing by postponing and putting off.
Though there's no indication on when this case will end.
We need to get the case moving forward before it loses the speed that is needed. But I also respect the judge's opinion in that, you know, we need to be cautious so that justice is served on both sides.
The resounding message stays the same. A hurting community.
You know, we're frustrated.
Very very frustrating.
Longing for answers in the pursuit of justice for someone they love.
As bad a thing as it was, it brought the community closer together, which is a good thing, but I wish something else could have caused that.
And the one thing they want everyone to know.
We'll be right here. We'll be right behind them the whole time. We'll see it through to the end.
Thank you for sharing that heartbreaking story, Chris. Now, I realized that there was a status hearing for the two guys about an hour ago. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Emily, both Autry and Adams appeared in court today. The defense did request 60 days to review documents on both sides. It's been a very extensive investigation, and the prosecution has a lot of information, so they're going to have to take some time to process through that. So the next hearing is a little bit later than what they would normally have, but 60 days from now, June 4th, is when both men will appear in court again.
Wow, such a long and ongoing process. So can you tell us a little bit about the community reaction to all of this?
Well, I think the community reaction, as has been throughout this case, is a little bit of frustration. They want it to move faster. But I will tell you this, the community isn't going anywhere. They'll continue to have rallies for Holly, be there for the family, be there on court days. That town stops when these type of things happen. They take off work. They're there for the Bobos through thick and thin.
Absolutely. So I know that you've talked personally with the Bobo family, and they haven't, said a lot just because of the nature of this case. But how are they handling all of these new developments?
Considering all they've been through, it's been incredible, Emily. They're just such a strong family. They rely on each other, and they rely on the community of Parsons and Decatur County. And when I talked to Karen and Clint the last time I was at one of the Holly rallies, she just really emphasized the fact she's so appreciative of those people that come out and support them. I mean, she's very appreciative of the media, too, for keeping this relevant and keeping Holly's name in the news, keeping people focused on it so this case can move forward.
Right, I can imagine so. Well, thank you again for sharing such, this heartbreaking story and bringing even more light to it.
It's been such a privilege to cover the story, Emily.
Absolutely.